so expensive to get started with videography, especially if you want to take it that step further and go professional and start your own business. But you don't realise just how much it's going to cost until you get your first paying client. And you think, right, I need to get the audio right, I need a bunch of stands, I need tripods, I need a second camera, I need this lens, that lens, backup lens, storage, spare cards, batteries, and the list is endless. Not to mention new cameras that keep coming out all the time. So instead of buying all this gear, why not hire it instead? Now there are many benefits to hiring gear over buying it to start with, and I'm going to go through some of those reasons throughout this video. I just want to start by saying that this video is not sponsored by any company, and everything that I talk about is purely my view and my opinions. I've not been paid to say anything by anybody, unfortunately. This weekend, I've rented 2 pieces of gear from Hire a Camera, and now that's a company based in the UK, which I'm going to talk about in a second. The Canon RF 28-70 lens, look at that, it's a beast. As well as the R6 that I'm filming on right now, so I can't show you, but I've got the R on display there as a dummy. And you've probably seen the videos on the R6 and the 28-70 as well, but if you haven't, I'll leave a link in the description down below so you can go and check those videos out after you finish watching this one. So Hire a Camera are based in the UK, as I mentioned, and they're a camera hire company, obviously, and you can borrow anything from cameras to lenses and accessories as well. So they've got an extensive list of equipment that you can borrow to fulfill any of your needs. Now, whether that's professional or if you're just working on your own personal projects at home. Having a look through the website, they've got everything that you'd ever need. They've also got the newest equipment as well, so it's really handy. But what's really good is that you can be put on a waiting list for gear that's about to come out. For example, the C70 isn't available yet, but if you sign up on the waiting list, they will ping you an email and then you can go and put your details in and you can be one of the first to hire the camera. So really good feature that, I like it. So the whole process is super simple. You basically select the date or the dates that you want to hire the equipment for, and they'll send it out the day before so that you can make sure that you can prepare everything the day before you have to go out and shoot. And then they will collect it, so you don't have to arrange sending everything back to them. They will collect it the day after you've finished filming. So you've got a good window there, which I think is really smart. Now what I liked about it is that the first time you hire anything from them, you have to fill out a security form to make sure you're a legitimate customer and that you qualify for hiring gear and that basically you're not going to run off with anything and steal it. So, but that's good because that means that everybody else that's hired that stuff before you will have taken good care of it so that you know you're going to get a piece of gear that works and is not going to let you down or isn't broken, for example. This was my first time ever using this company, and I have to say the customer service every time I contacted them was outstanding. I spoke to a couple of different people on a few occasions and they were all extremely friendly. They went above and beyond. I didn't feel rushed in the conversation, and they were just really nice in general. They wanted to do everything they could to help, and I even ended up getting the camera a day earlier because they were worried that there might be postal delays because of what's happening. They arranged the courier a day sooner so that just in case, to make sure that I was going to get the camera on the day that I needed it. It doesn't stop there though. If you hire stuff over the weekend, you get Sunday free because obviously collections aren't running. So if you go for the weekend, you're going to get an extra day filming. So that's exactly what I've done. So I just want to say a personal thank you to Hire a Camera. You've given me an amazing experience and I'll definitely be using you again. So thank you so much. So let me jump into the reasons as to why I think hiring gear is a really good idea. God. Crikey me. Number 1, testing gear before you buy it. So if you're going to spend hundreds, if not thousands of pounds on a new piece of gear, you want to be able to test it to make sure it's right for you before you go and do that. And usually with things like that, you've got to test them in a shop if they've got them in stock. But testing it in a shop doesn't give you a very good indication of what it's going to be like for you, because how often do you go filming in a shop? You know, you want to take it out into the field and give it a really good test and use it in the way that you use it and get used to all the features before you part with all your money. Hiring the gear will cost you, but it could potentially save you money in the long run, because if you bought a camera that wasn't right for you, you'd then have to sell that at a loss and then buy the camera that you wanted again. So hiring it for a day or a couple of days is a really good idea, and it will save you in the long run. Reason number 2 is, as a business, you tend to do a lot of similar types of work. I mainly focus on things like music videos and weddings and the odd corporate bit of work here and there. So that is quite a broad range there. Different jobs require different pieces of equipment. For example, sometimes you might need 2 cameras, 2 lenses, or a bunch of different lenses to pick from. But then you might do another job that only requires 1 camera and then a gimbal. But if you're not doing that sort of gig all the time, then you don't need specific bits of gear lying around all the time not being used. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? I think you know what I mean. Basically, if there's a piece of gear you need for a one-off or every now and then, why invest in it and spend loads of money if you're only going to use it a couple of times throughout the year? That's what I'm trying to say. So hiring it is a good option in that case, and build that into the cost of the job so that it covers it. Plus, this could potentially keep your insurance down because you're not having to cover a load of gear that's in your house or wherever you keep it, in your office, for example. There's stuff that I use every single day, and then there's stuff that I rarely use. And sometimes I feel, oh, that's a lot of money sat there not really doing much. And that money could have gone on something that I do use more often. For example, a drone. Yes, I love my drones. But throughout the winter months, when it's slinging it down with rain, I know that I'm not going to get much use out of it. And I was only really using it for wedding season. But now that I'm doing more of the YouTube stuff, I am starting to use it a little bit more, so I am getting my money's worth out of it now. Reason number 3, you might need a second videographer to help with a certain project, and they might have different gear to you, and you want to keep it all the same so that the look is consistent, and you don't have to do any weird things with your colour grading. So that's another good reason, and it means that you don't have to go out and buy a second camera just for them to film once, or you don't have to look for somebody that's got the same equipment as you. And lastly, you might only just be getting started and not have a clue what type of camera is right for you. You know, and you're not going to know that until you have some good use out of it. So why not try a bunch of different stuff and see which one you take to the most? And don't get me wrong, I know hiring gear is expensive still, but I'm just trying to think of options for you if you ever come up with an excuse, oh, I can't film that because I haven't got this piece of gear, when really it still is available to you somehow. And also, I am trying to save you money in the long run. Don't go out and spend money on something that you've not tried, and don't go out and spend money on something that you would only need for one job and then have to sell it at a loss later on. So definitely worth considering. If you are in the UK, Hire a Camera are an incredible company, really good to deal with, great customer service, and the actual process of it was really easy. In fact, what I forgot to mention is all the gear comes in these hard cases, and along with it, they sent some little Haribos. Look at that. Now, I don't really have much of a sweet tooth, but I appreciate the sentiment, and I'll keep them in there for the next person. So, thank you once again, Hire a Camera. I really appreciate it, and I will definitely be using the services again in the future. Anyway, that's it for this one, just a short one. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more gear reviews and tutorials, and press the bell to get notified of new videos when I upload them so that you don't miss anything. Right, on that note, have a great week, and I'll see you in the next one. I've got to go and give these back now. I'm really sad.